Hey everyone, welcome to another Bass Singer Reaction. Today we're going to be looking at Home Freeze the Gambler. I got a lot of requests for this early on. I'm finally getting around to it. This was a Kenny Rogers song. Kenny had just passed away and they decided to do this piece as kind of a tribute to him and being such a legendary figure in the musical world. So we're going to do that. Before I get into that, you guys can see I'm sporting a mustache. This is for November, aka Movember, to raise awareness about men's health issues, which is a very, very real thing that sometimes we're not all quick to acknowledge. I'm someone who's dealt with anxiety and depression over the years and learned how to manage it. And so, big shout out to all my guys out there who are dealing with that. Movember, we're representing. And last thing, I want to welcome all the new fans here to the channel from my recent Dimash reaction, my first one. I'm recording this just 3 days after releasing that, and it has over 50,000 views already, which is insane. So hello to all the deers. So I've heard that's what Dimash's fans are called. So welcome to the channel. Hopefully you guys like acapella, because that's something I certainly like to cover. Also, I figure probably okay to have a beer while I'm doing this one, you know what I mean? So here we go. We're going to jump into Home Freeze the Gambler. Guys, if you like what I'm doing, please like and subscribe the video. Please comment. Anything to feed that algorithm and give me ideas for future videos is good. If you really like what I'm doing, please consider donating to my Patreon for as little as $1 a month. Got a lot of new patrons after the Dimash video, so it's so glad to have more people in the Patreon family supporting me as a young artist in the opera world. And guys, without further ado, let's analyze and listen to and have some fun with Home Freeze the Gambler, originally by Kenny Rogers. Let's do it.
On a warm summer's eve, on a train bound for nowhere, I met up with the gambler. We were both too tired to sleep, so we took turns of staring out the window at the darkness till boredom overtook us and he began to speak.
Yes, okay, I love so they're doing what's called a drone. A drone is where you're maintaining a pitch, one single pitch, E flat, E flat 4 is the pitch they're maintaining on that first section. They start doing a little movement in the background on the second part of that verse. We have Chance singing the solo. Sounds wonderful as always. Something interesting, actually, before I talk about the drone. If you listen to Kenny Rogers' original, he does some accidental, pretty crystal clear subharmonics when he starts this phrase. So he's singing an E flat 3 in his chest voice, but he's hitting a subharmonic E flat 2, for words at a time. Go back and check that out. It's pretty funny. I was just brushing up on the original a minute ago, and I was like, those are the clear subharmonics he's doing. Anyway, the drone is really cool because if you have a drone, that means you're holding one pitch, and that's what the drone is. And then often with the drone, you'll have other melodies moving above it or below it, depending on how you want to set the drone. And what it does is throughout the melodies, when certain pitches don't line up with what would be the drone's setting the tonic of the chord. So the drone is an E flat. So if he's singing the melody and he's singing, E flat, whatever, in the key of E flat, there's no dissonance. But often with melodies, you're going stepwise fashion. And so when you hit a note that stepwise doesn't fit into that key that the drone is highlighting the bottom of, you get a little dissonance. So if we're going to go back to the beginning and just listen for these little moments where there's a little bit of clash between the drone and what's happening in the lead vocals. Then in the second part of the verse, we have some movement. I think there was some going back between the 5 and the 6. So, we've got, let me move up an octave. And I think they might have come down to some kind of some clustery chord up there. descending from the tonic on the E flat down a little bit, that also was creating a little extra dissonance in the second half of that first verse. Let's go back. So pay attention to that. Just think about how the drone is affecting the overall harmonic movement of the piece.
On a warm summer's eve,
So it's not just a drone. I've just realized it's not just a drone on the E flat. They're highlighting a perfect fifth.
Train bound for nowhere, I met up with the gambler. We were both too tired to sleep, so we took turns of staring out the window at the darkness till boredom overtook us, and he began to speak. He said, son, I've made a life out of reading people's faces, knowing what the cards were by the way they held their eyes. So if you don't mind me saying, I can see you're out of aces. For a taste of your whiskey, I'll give you some advice.
Awesome. So we love when Tim jumps in the solo, and he sounds great up here. You know, this still sounds comfy for him in the top of his, not even the top of his range, but out of his lower range where he's most well known for his bass notes. Tim has a much more forward-placed, brighter sound to his singing than Chance does. Chance is a little warmer, a little breathier, and then Tim comes in and it's much more bright, has a lot more cut, or a lot more squealo is a fun word we like to use in the opera world, which means it has a lot of high harmonic content. As an opera singer, you want that because the sound has to cut through the orchestra. Because remember, we're singing with orchestra with no microphones. So Tim is showing some great high harmonic content in his sound. That also means that he is singing efficiently, meaning that not much air is escaping through his vocal folds. The better your vocal folds are closing, the more high harmonic content your sound is going to have. So if I sing, ooh, that's like pretty breathy, but if I sing, ooh, that has a lot more high harmonic content, so you can hear the difference. Ooh, I'm actually not using any more. I'm actually using less air for the louder sound because the air is more compressed because the vocal folds are coming together better or stronger. So that's the main difference between Chance and Tim singing. Tim also adds a little more riffing in a few more tasteful riffs, which is cool. You know, he's making the melody his own. But I think it made sense for Chance to start very simple and do pretty much exactly what was done in the original, and then Tim's adding a little flair to it as we move forward in the song. The bass line, sung by Chance in this case, also came in during Tim's verse, as well as some perk from Adam. So, with that said, let's keep going and see what happens next. Or I think we're about to drop into the first chorus.
So I handed him my
Just kidding,
bottle,
not yet.
and he drank down my last swallow. Then he bummed a cigarette and asked me for a light, and the night got deathly quiet.
That was a B flat from Tim there.
And he drank down my last swallow. Then he bummed a cigarette and asked me for a light, and the night got deathly quiet. And his face lost all expression. Said, if you're gonna play the game, boy, you gotta learn to play it right. You got to know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em, know when to walk away, and know when to run. You never count your money. When you're sitting at the table, there'll be time enough for counting when the dealing's done.
Nice B flats from Tim there. I was carefully listening to what was happening far left and far right in the ears, what was panned. In the original, it's these very light, moving guitar riffs. And that's exactly what they're doing here vocally. like kind of in far right and far left in the ear. You've got a lot happening in the middle. You've got solo. You've got perk is usually put in the middle. Bass is usually put in the middle. Sometimes solo you'll pan to give it kind of a bigger, more spread, all-encompassing surround sound. But it's really easy to hear what's happening very far left and right. So if you pay attention to this chorus, and if it's not happening on the next chorus, I'll come back so you can listen. Forget it. We'll just go back and listen for a few seconds. What you should do is go back and listen to the original and listen to those guitar parts that are clearly panned far left, right, and then come back here and listen to hear what they're doing vocally. Of course, it's a cappella in the far left and right ear.
When you're sitting at the table, there'll be time enough for counting when the dealing's done.
So it's like that's someone's doing that with a little variation. So it's not just that the whole time. It's like kind of a bit of staggering happening. So you've got a little left, right playing off each other in the ear. Anyway, that's a cool effect, and it's so not only, of course, were they turning the instrumentation from the original into a cappella, but they're also even going as far as to, whoever did their sound engineering as putting those parts exactly where they were in the original mix. So that is a truly following the mold, truly a tribute to the late Kenny Rogers.
Every gambler knows that the secret to surviving.
Key change, E major. So we went from E flat to E.
Is knowing what to throw away and knowing what to keep. Cause every hand's a winner and every hand's a loser. And the best that you can hope for is to die in your sleep. And when
Rob sounds great. It sounds really good on that solo line. I want to go back because I love when they came in with I'm gonna have to find the words, but the background harmonies came in with repeating the text that Rob had just sung, and then they did this like cool kind of cascading pattern on an ah vowel. That's how you saw me smiling and pointing, because I really liked that. And it was a deviation from what they've been doing. So let's go back. Let's listen to Rob's sweet vocals, and I will flag that. I'll flag that lyric and then them cascading down on that ah vowel.
throw away and knowing what to keep. Cause every hand's a winner and every hand's a loser.
Alright, because every hand's a winner, every hand's a loser. Every hand,
Knowing what to throw away and knowing what to keep. Cause every hand's a winner and every hand's a loser. And the best that you can hope for is to die in your sleep. And when he finished speaking, he turned back toward the window, crushed out his cigarette and faded off to sleep. And somewhere in the darkness,
Tim has such great vocal control. I mean, it's good for any voice type, but especially for a bass singer. He just does these really quick movements, whether it's riffing or shifting pitch, like hopping an interval really quickly. It's just so quick and so accurate. You can tell he's got so much control over his voice, and it's I just love it. I really like his voice, and I really like it when he's singing like this, where it's very present and forward. But he's good at using different timbres for different occasions. You know, he has that ability to sing, breathy, for instance, when he comes in on Misty Mountains, and here when it's more of a country thing, where he gets a little twangy, gets a little forward in there. You know what I mean? So it's good that he has that power to kind of bounce around between colors of his vocal palette.
faded off to sleep. And somewhere in the darkness, the gambler, he broke even. And in his final words, I found an ace that I could keep. You got to know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em, know when to walk away, and know when to run. You never count your money when you're sitting.
That was different. Little cadence there. For the most part, I believe this is probably going to stay the same through the end. They might add a few harmonies here and there, but they did a little do. They did like a slower transition point there.
Hold on. Know when to walk away and know when to run. You never count your money.
That is.
When you're sitting at the table, there'll be time enough for counting. But when the dealing's done, you got to know when to hold 'em. Know when to fold 'em. Know when to walk away and know when to run. You never.
All right, so they've completely stripped away background harmonies, so you can tell the sound. Not that it's thinner, but there's not as much happening, so it's not this full kind of wall of sound. Now you've clearly got like Perk, you've got Tim on bass, you've got Austin doing these fun kind of call and response things, and then you've got your lead, whoever that might be singing, and it's very kind of, it's more stripped down a little bit. It's and this is something similar happens in the original where kind of everything comes away and then it comes back full strength for the final chorus. So if it's going to follow, the same pattern like it has, we can expect that to happen. But it's nice. It adds variation. It gives different singers in the group a chance to do different things. Like Austin is now getting a little bit, because he doesn't have a solo in the song, at least he hasn't so far. And you've heard his background parts, but now he's really getting a much more clearer place to sing, which is nice.
When to hold 'em. Know when to fold 'em. Know when to walk away and know when to run. You never count your money. When you're sitting at the table, there'll be time enough for counting. When the dealing's done, you got to know when to hold 'em.
When the deal. I think that was A natural, B flat, B natural from Tim there.
Know when to fold 'em. Know when to walk away and know when to run. You never count your money when you're sitting at the table.
Sit. Oh, what was that?
Never count your money when you're sitting at the
table, sitting at the table. Okay. From Austin there. Nice. See, little things like that, just to keep it not totally stagnant and the same as we move forward. Also, just a shout to Adam. There's so much cool perk happening. It's not highlighted or featured aside from those breakdown moments, but he's got some lip rolls in there. He's got different kinds of snares happening, different kinds of hi-hats happening, crashes. He's got the full kit plus some like real beatboxing sound effects in there, which is cool. And something, again, he did this on what was it, One Man Band, where it's not a piece you'd expect any kind of fancy sound effects to come in, but he's so good that he can kind of weave them in without it getting showboaty. He just does it nonchalantly, yet it manages to fit and mold within the context. Another thing before we wrap this up, I like how, because this was like phase 1 of quarantine back in March 2020 when this came out. I'm pretty sure. March or April, somewhere in there. And so this is kind of like their group's first, I don't know if it was the first, but one of their first approaches to putting together a virtual project like this in the different frames. I don't know if they're all in the same place. It looks like there's like different fabric on the table. So I'm guessing they are actually filming these all separately, which is interesting, or at least most of them. And so that was the struggle that all these creators were up against when the pandemic hit, myself included, as I was just starting to get into making my own a cappella pieces online. But it's cool. It's simple. It totally gets the job done. It tells the story. So I think it's good. This is not a piece that needs to be overblown. I mean, if you watch the original music video, I mean, it's shot in like one room. just kidding. So it's not a song that needs anything fancy. You know what I mean? So I think they did a damn good job. Here.
You never count your money when you're sitting at the table. There'll be time enough for counting when the dealing's done.
Very nice, Humphrey. Very nice. This was fun. I watched this one whenever it premiered back in, like I said, like over a year and a half ago. Only once. Hadn't seen it since, so a lot of this was very new to me. And I brushed up on the original beforehand to have some things to compare and contrast there. But this is a song that doesn't need anything fancy. I wouldn't expect a hyper complex arrangement for it. I think they did a great job. I really liked how they started real bare bones with this drone. Just the drone, two voices, open. It's called an open fifth, by the way. And then you got Chance coming in.
On a warm summer's eve, on a train bound for nowhere.
Very simple, not putting any extra riffs. Then this progresses into a little bit thicker drone where you've got the same open fifth with some moving parts, and you've got a bass line coming in, which Chance takes over. You've got a little bit of perk. Tim comes in, adds a little bit more brightness and a little more flair to the sound. And it goes from there until we kind of settle into a groove, and then we're left to a series of pretty much chorus and then breakdowns where they're changing the soloist, they're taking in and out, they're removing and adding instruments or voices in this case. And that keeps the song interesting and fresh throughout. Overall, it's just a really fun piece. The lyrics are great. I recommend going back and reading the lyrics while listening to either the original or this one. It's a nice story there, and some nice life lessons there, taught by the man Kenny himself. So, guys, thanks for joining. This is Home Freeze the Gambler. I hope you enjoyed, and many more reactions to come. Life is very busy at the moment, but I'm still holding true to the one a week reaction at least. Occasionally there may be more, and I'm still even trying to put out covers of my own. So doing my best out here, and everything in the opera world's going very well. I'm very pleased with all that. So guys, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for supporting me, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.